Silent Hill 2 is obviously being remade at this point, and we've seen some footage of it. It seems like the internet's opinion of it has been back and forth, which is something we're going to address in today's video, but a question does kind of come up when this topic arises, which is, why was Silent Hill 2 remade first? Why didn't they remake this series in order? Or in chronological order, because there is some stuff technically before Silent Hill 1, or any of these different things. Like, why didn't we see any of that before we got a numbered Silent Hill 2 before any other titles? That's something we're going to look at in today's video, and also Bloober Team, along with Konami's probably permission, considering it seems like they're kind of under a bit of a leash from Konami. They were allowed to talk about that in an interview recently that I thought was very interesting. There's also an update on Silent Hill's future. Now, obviously, if you watch this video in 5 years, other than looking back at a time capsule of what people were thinking at the time, I'm sure that the news has aged. I say that because I always get people coming back to these like 3 years later, like, well, actually, yes, I understand, but this is what we're at right now. So if you enjoyed the video, you want to leave a like, subscribe for more content, I appreciate it very much. Silent Hill is not the main topic I cover on this channel, but this is kind of a variety channel where I talk about the things that I care about, and Silent Hill is one of those things that I truly, really do care about, and that I'm hoping that Konami and the people there care about as well. Now, something I think is interesting is that this question of why was Silent Hill 2 remade first was actually addressed in a recent interview with Rock Paper Shotgun. Bloober Team's creative director, I'm going to butcher his name, but let's just say Mr. Lennart, and also we will say Mr. Glom. They answered some questions about all of these different things, and they went in detail on why they actually chose this game to remake for the Silent Hill revival that Konami is pushing, saying, I think Silent Hill 2 just matches our DNA way better. It's much more emotional, a much more personal story than, for example, the first game or the third game. And we at Bloober were always fans of telling more personal stories about people's experiences, people's feelings, and how they go through them. Not so much about, occultism and things from other worlds, right? So I think that was the main reason, basically. So essentially, it's the idea that this was more of a grounded story that fit their personal development style from the past that they would actually gel with better. Going on to say, obviously, our games feature some supernatural elements. Remember, this is talking about Bloober, not talking about Silent Hill from the past. But in the end, it's all about a specific person on a specific journey that they need to find out the truth about themselves. And I think that that's really interesting because they talked about it fitting their DNA a little bit more and saying, on the other hand, it's not like we're making this decision, right? The franchise is connected to Konami's plans. Now, obviously, VG247, where I'm reading some of this from, and Rock Paper Shotgun, who did their own interview with some of the Bloober Team staff, they talked a little bit about how we know what some of those plans are. There's things like Silent Hill Townfall, Silent Hill F, and some other things going on. But something interesting that I did want to cover really quick with this is the fact that there are still upcoming plans. Now, we do know now why they kind of picked this first. One, it's that Konami wanted them to. But two, it's that Bloober was more selected because this tone of James's story fits more of the kind of stories that they had done in the past. What's interesting to me with this is that for Silent Hill 2, it does seem like the internet's opinion on it has been back and forth a lot. It was something where, and I even thought about making this video instead of talking about this update, talking more about how it seems like now you're allowed to have this opinion. But something I've been saying for months now is, hey, I just hope this game is good. Kind of looks fun to me. Let's wait and see. And that was somehow like a controversial standpoint, which is weird to me because I'm not a new Silent Hill fan. Like, I've loved this series forever. I even played through, probably a year or two ago, played through Silent Hill 1 over on my Let's Play channel, Degenerate Plays. So that's in the description down below if you have any interest in checking it out. I'm also planning to Let's Play the original Silent Hill 2. And to me, this game actually looked pretty decent. I wasn't really sure what to make out of it, but the gameplay looked fun to me. I thought that the world looked like it was expanded in terms of explorability without sacrificing the story so far. From everything I had seen, it was looking like this could be good, but it also could be the most misleading trailers ever and end up being bad. So I was really hoping it would be good. Somehow that was like a controversial statement that would bring down the hellfire of Reddit and the internet I don't really understand it, but I guess people are like very, very upset that this game is being remade. But then I went and looked at the trailer, like the most recent trailer they released, and it seems like the entire internet has just switched up their opinion overnight about how, because they remade a classic trailer, that now it's like, oh, this actually looks good. Now this is okay to like, and now we're excited for it. Obviously, people are allowed to change their opinion, but it was just kind of very, very sudden to me. I do think that for me, and I'll talk about some more of the supposed Silent Hill plans here in a second after I get off this point. I do think for me, though, when it comes to Silent Hill 2, it's an interesting situation where this was probably the first real horror game that ever affected me in any way, that I found deeply interesting, personal, and it got me into the series. And I think that they're banking off of that a little bit with Silent Hill 2 because it is a little more personal. It does make you wonder then, are they going to go like 1 and 3 next, because those games are pretty much companion games, like direct sequels? What are they going to do? We'll have to see. But, you know, back in August, like early August of 2024, Konami had released their Q1 results, and this was reported by Aesthetic Gamer, aka Dusk Golem, on Twitter. And there were some other things actually here as well that were backed up by real data, but they said that the Q1 performance of the company was doing very, very well. They had the strongest Q1 performance in their company history, which is really surprising to me. And they also went on in this to confirm that they were talking about doing more with Silent Hill, that there was more in the future, saying, "We will continue to produce completely new titles in the Silent Hill series," keep in mind that's new titles, "and intend to provide a variety of information through the Silent Hill transmission program, which will be broadcast simultaneously around the world." And then they were going on talking about money, blah, blah, blah. But essentially, the whole point is that they did kind of reaffirm their commitment to Silent Hill as a return, outside of just Silent Hill 2 Remake, and supposedly outside of just things like F, you know, saying that they would go on to make entirely new games. So now the question becomes, what will happen with this? That's kind of going to be up for time and I guess the audience reception to decide. I noticed that, like I said, there's been a very big pivot on the opinions around Silent Hill 2. It was really getting caught up in all of this discussion around like cultural stuff, especially with Angela's face. Now, personally, I never really got even into this topic when it came up, other than saying, you know, I don't expect everything to be one-to-one in a remake aesthetically. Like, there's obviously going to be some changes. I'm hoping that when I see changes like Maria's outfit, or when I see changes, you know, like Angela's face, which to me isn't that much different, but just doesn't really match her character model that much, which I don't really care about because she's not a character you encounter very often, but it is something that I know people are very jumpy about. When I'm seeing some of those aesthetic changes, right? Or when I'm seeing things like, hey, we went from fixed camera angles to over the shoulder and we added a bunch more explorability, I'm sitting here wondering, is this going to land with people? I'm pretty open-minded to it. You know, a character that I encounter 4 or 5 times throughout the game, Angela, if she doesn't look exactly like she did in the original, me personally, I'm not crying woke about it. I'm just waiting to see, okay, well, what about the rest of the game? Like, you know, did they change Maria's outfit because they didn't want to show skin? Did they change it because they forgot, you know, like they missed the point of who Maria is, what she represents? Or did they change it for a stylistic choice because the original was just based off a Christina Aguilera outfit that was kind of arbitrarily picked because it was sexy? I don't know, because the game's not out, right? So for me, I'll ask these questions, but I'll also say I am open to this game being very good, and I hope it is. And so far, to me, for a remake of a game like this, it looks pretty good. I still wish that we got, you know, ports of the classics, that we got remasters and stuff. I know one main reason we're probably not is because of the ridiculousness of losing the source code and some of the completed builds and stuff of Silent Hill 2 and 3, which happened at Konami in the past. It's why the Silent Hill HD collection on PS3 and 360 was such a mess, to the point where Comic Sans font got put on the Silent Hill sign. Look it up, it's insanity. I'm open to this game, though, being good, and I'm open to the revival of this series being good. I don't ever mean to approach something by saying like, well, my opinion is right and everybody else is a moron, but I've noticed that a lot of people are not at all open to it. It seems like a lot of people are actually rooting for this game and all of these games to fail. They're not just skeptical, They're not just, hey, Konami's had a bad past, I'm not really sure what to think. They're like, nah, I want this thing dead and buried in the ground. It's woke, it's stupid, I hate it, anybody who likes it's a moron. And to me, when I'm kind of seeing that, I'm wondering, well, is that a vocal minority? Because going and looking at the new trailers for the game, it's like all positivity. But again, when it comes to comments, you know, it's like, obviously comments can be deleted, they can be removed. So I don't really know. But I'm just kind of wondering what happened to that, you know, because it seems like the internet switched up overnight just because of one new trailer, and Konami's very clearly doing very well. You know, I want Konami to do well. I know that some people just had an aneurysm hearing that. If they are going to be player friendly, if they're going to be consumer friendly, if they're actually going to embrace art again, you know, not if they're just going to be in their mobile game slop era or their slot machine slop era. I mean, they're actually trying. They're bringing back creative heads, you know, they're bringing back creative people. They're actually putting effort and money into this art to make something good. I want that Konami to be successful. Konami has some very amazing brands between things like Silent Hill, Metal Gear, Castlevania, and a billion others. I mean, they are a company that could be a mainstay of gaming again and make very quality products that, you know, would be really fun to see in the market today. I guess for me, it's just a question of, will they be able to stick that landing? What will they do with this? And, you know, with even more rumors about there being an internally developed Silent Hill game in the works other than this, I'm wondering, you know, what that will be, since Bloober is not internal Konami, but we have seen some Konami stuff being internally developed, like the Metal Gear Solid 3 or Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, I should say, remake. It's interesting to kind of look at the state of Konami now and see where they're at compared to just 5 years ago. It's bizarre, but I'm hoping it's part of a big redemption story, and I am hoping people will be open to it. Now, that doesn't mean you have to eat whatever they throw on your plate, but I do think there is a difference between being cautiously skeptical or not throwing yourself in front of a bus to give them money, and just being completely closed off to it and refusing to have any kind of open-mindedness at all. I think there's a very vast gap between those two mindsets. So I'll be interested to hear what you think in the comments down below. Usually the Silent Hill comments are like half positive, half people literally like having actual stroke, like just really mad that it even exists. There doesn't seem to be a lot of in between, but I'll be interested to hear your thoughts down there. If you enjoyed the video, you want to leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments down below what you think. I appreciate you very much. We do also have a few ways to support our channel. We have a Fortnite code, which is DJAY123. We have our own store, which is CosmoBunny.shop, where you can use code DJAY123 for 10% off your first purchase. This is actually a store where we make coasters, keychains, trays, resin items that are out of recycled and repurposed comic books that have been damaged. So these are comic book paper that can't be sold from stores, and those are things that, you know, we take, and instead of letting them end up in landfills, we put them in art for your home. We transform them. You know, the whole point of fair use and transformative art. That's kind of what we're doing. So we hope that you'll enjoy that too. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.